right, guys, welcome to today's Limitless Agency team call. Today is October 12th. Just went through some exciting announcements coming up. The cruise contest is over, so that's coming up here in the next month. And we just had a bunch of new carriers adopt the text signature process. So that is amazing. We're excited. Today, we have special guests, Austin Becker and Jessica Becker, on today with us. I'm going to let them share their story and all their tips and tricks. But just so you guys know, Austin and Jess issue paid and protected 228 families in the month of August. And then last month in September, they followed up with over 90. So this couple is, first full year in the insurance industry. They told me they're going for 1,500 families, which would be a huge record, not only in our agency, but with Family First Life, but 100% over 1,000, which not too many people have done in the history of the company. So super excited to have you guys on today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us as well.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
She's a little quiet. She's nervous.
That's how I am. I get it.
Well, if you guys can start kind of just with just a brief backstory, what you guys were doing before, if you guys did any type of sales or like entrepreneurship stuff before, and then how long you've been with us here at FFL.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll talk first and try to warm her up a little bit. But getting started as far as marketing, because I've had experience in owning my own marketing companies for going on a decade now. So I have experience in sales and marketing and social media. And I think that's what's obviously helped catapult the trajectory of where we're at right now, because that's where our business comes from. And then from that, all of the software systems and stuff, I have experience building them and stuff. So we kind of got that advantage. So I've been coming from this sales side of things and everything like that, and marketing. And prior to that, though, I was a couple of years back, I was like in the oil and gas industry. So I used to work in that industry. And then I wanted to break away from that. And then I've done a lot of like e-commerce and affiliate marketing and social media marketing and stuff. Jess, though, on the other hand, not so much. So it's a little different for her. She's coming from actually working a 9 to 5 and going to college and stuff, something I didn't do. So if you want to talk a little bit.
Yeah, so most of my experience was actually in like customer service. So like serving, waiting tables or cocktail serving and things like that. I was a mom at a very young age. So I kind of just did the 9 to 5, went back to school, ended up going for behavioral therapy. So I was a behavioral therapist for a couple of years, working with children with autism. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, no experience in sales per se. Like when you're serving tables, I can upsell, but I don't have any actual experience with selling and stuff like that. But what I did learn from it was, customer service and dealing with people and working with people and stuff like that. So we kind of make up for what the other lacks, I guess you could say.
But neither of us, and even though I've had experience in sales, it was always like online coaching and consulting or buy my course, right? It wasn't selling like, hey, here's this product. I had no idea what insurance was, right? I didn't even have insurance myself coming. Like I knew what insurance was. You pass away, like this is what it is, and it may pay out, right? I didn't know what. Well, like if you don't die, it terminates. It's term, right? That's how term insurance is.
Yeah, understood of it.
And that's what I understood of insurance. And then coming into the industry, not a clue. Just like anybody else that started with no experience. I had experience in marketing and sales, and that's what led to, obviously later on in the conversation, what we'll talk about. Like obviously we sell retirement plans and IULs and stuff. We picked a different product, but not a different. That's what we figured out was we pinpointed that one. But that's because we came in here, everything was new. That was new, annuities were new, term was new, it all was new. So we didn't have a clue.
Definitely. A lot of
we wung it.
A lot of new agents, they come in, obviously they learn kind of the basics like final expense, mortgage protection. As a company, we're really starting to focus heavily on IULs and fixed index annuities. How did you guys learn about IULs and FIAs, and what would you say to a new agent? What are some good resources and things they can do to really be confident and sell those kind of products?
So conviction, first thing is to probably get one yourself. If you want to be convicted in selling something, you gotta kind of own it and or go through the same process as if you're about to own it, like study it. How we've managed to learn how you learn anything in life is study, right? And intention behind studying, I would say.
I was just about to say, he used to pick on me so much. So when I first started out, I'm a perfectionist. Like, I am not going to put my name on anything, or I should say, unless I have spent countless hours studying it to where, like, you can ask me anything on the topic, right? So when we were speaking about me getting licensed, I refused to take the test. He was like, before you even put your name on what was it, the study course, Excel study course, like, go ahead and register for the test. And I was like, I haven't even like opened up a chapter yet. So I was really like, what word would it be? Like, I was dead set on mastering term, on mastering, whole life, like, I had to know everything about everything. And that actually worked against us, obviously, because it slows you down. You're never going to learn anything. You really have to just throw yourself out there and figure it out. So that's probably more so why we chose IUL, was that he was watching me flounder trying to memorize everything and learn every product that every carrier had. And he was like, we really need to figure out what we really love, what we believe in, and let's just focus on that. And then, which ended up being IULs. And then once we're comfortable with that and we like it, we can open up the door to other products, and then ended up with annuities that we love as well. So
Yeah, biggest thing is pinpointing. While you could be a jack of all trades, the guy that's jack of all trades isn't going to be the perfectionist at all trades, right? We can solve all problems. And so our biggest thing was, you could go sell term and absolutely kill it in this industry and only sell term. And then if you're only selling term for 99% of your clients, then you have every now and then, obviously it's not fit for a client and we can still solve the problems. But the thing is, we know who's on the other side of the phone every single time. When I get on a call, when she gets on a call, whenever anybody gets on the call, we know the prospect on the other end is there for this problem, and therefore we can now solve it. And then when it comes to problem solving or sales, you have to solve a problem. And if we don't know who's on the other end on the initial call, and we're trying to solve that problem first, well, then how are we supposed to solve what problems they do have if we're solving our own problem? If I don't even know what this guy wants. So identifying our market, right, was like, well, we could go for term, we could go for whole life, we could go for final expense, we could go for mortgage protection. Every one of them is going to kill it. We could also go for IULs. And what really came down to it is like, well, we've done everything and we still do everything. 99% of the business is only this. That way we know who's on the other side of the phone. And to answer your question of like, how do people get to where, like, how does a new agent get comfortable with that? Same way you get comfortable with final expense term. Just choose to go study that. Right. And everyone's like, well, how do you guys know what to do? We study. Go learn. The resources are there.
Make mistakes and
call the carrier.
Yeah, ask for help.
The carrier has people that help. Like, literally, people are like, well, how do you write your first annuity? And she called the carrier and they're like, well, this is how you do it. They
walk you through it all. Use them for sure.
Everyone's so afraid, and they think that they don't have the resources, the people, or the help. YouTube's your best friend, like, for knowledge, right? Other people, experience, and then just honestly application. Because the more you do, the more you learn. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. You see, you just said at the beginning of this call, we now have texting with Mutual of Omaha. Well, guess what? That's new. So you have to do it to learn how to send the text. Otherwise, most people are still going to send it via email for the first 3, 4, 5 months because they're not comfortable with sending the text link because they're not sure if it's going to work. Same concept. So you just have to start doing it. And the carrier doesn't penalize you for submitting something wrong. They just actually ask you to fix it. Right. Yeah. This is why I think there's this huge fear.
He's our best friend. I've sent him many messages with it.
Yeah, you did. She did an annuity yesterday.
And press the button. He's like, gotcha, girl. Like, use them. Don't feel bad about making mistakes because it all works out.
And that's honestly, that's the beauty of this business, is there's so many freaking ways to do it. There's so many people, running mortgage leads, doing their own mortgage leads, buying them from the CRM. There's so many people that market themselves. Like, someone texted me before the call saying, dude, I can't wait to freaking hear from Austin because he's like one of the best marketers. I see him everywhere. There's just so many ways to do this thing. And you guys have really perfected your kind of niche, which is awesome.
I think,
yeah, we
I
definitely figured out.
Go ahead. There's a lag.
I was just gonna say, we definitely figured out like what his strengths were and used it to our advantage. Like he loves being in front of the camera. He loves marketing. He's great at it, and he has no problem. I don't want to say like making a fool of himself, but being silly, throwing himself out there. And if it works, awesome. And if it doesn't work, whatever. Like, and he adapts. That's been the best thing for our business this year, is that we literally change things daily. I mean, we work from home, so we're in the same office. We will sit down all day long, do something, spend hours on it, then, you know, a couple days later, check back to see if that worked, and then laugh when it was an awful idea, whatever, and then try again. So we're constantly changing things, which has been, yeah, his experience in marketing has really changed the game for us, for sure.
I love that.
Yeah, I think something else to note, guys, is when you come in here as a new agent, and I always preach this, yes, you work for Family First Life. Yes, you work for, you know, the agency you work with, etc. But you are now your own business owner. And so I love buying leads. I love calling people that are interested, but I also like generating organic stuff. And so putting things out there on social media, asking for referrals. I don't know this, but I would have to guess that you guys are now selling a lot of annuities, because pretty much on every single IUL appointment, you're asking questions. You're asking if they have any 401ks, IRAs. You're asking, and that's a huge mistake that I made when I was first starting out, is I was just scared of asking the annuity question because I didn't know what an annuity was. I thought it was some like crazy complicated thing. And the thing is, guys, they're really simple. And if you just ask the dang question and find the money, the AMS team, the carriers, your upline, you know, the SRS team, now there's so many different people that can help you. And I'm going to put it in the chat here. If you guys all go and register on fflams.com, you guys can learn all the basics of IULs, annuities, and anything advanced. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to know, for, you said fact finding and problem solving. In terms of an IUL for someone who's brand new, what are some key highlights and what are some things you look for in a prospect when you're talking to them, whether it's age, income, their goals, etc., that you're like, hey, an IUL would be a great fit for this client?
You want me to answer? You got this.
No, you got it.
Well, it's a two-prong approach. The first prong is your lead. Like, what? So, like, we don't have to annuities. You fact find on the call to see if you could do an annuity, right? Normally, 9 times out of 10, your lead is not an annuity lead that came to you, right? It was a lead for something else, a regular life insurance lead. And then we ask them about retirement accounts and stuff like that. And then that's when you find, okay, we could also help them with the annuity. But like I said, when someone gets on the call with her or us, like they're already there for an IUL.
Yeah, we know that they're an IUL.
So
they filled out a form most often, if not always, from seeing our social media content. They filled out a form with all the, you know, answered all the questions that that we asked. And so when we get on the call, we already know that that's what they're looking for. Now, we will go into like a little bit of like a background, like, do you know what an IUL is? Do you understand it? You know, making sure that even though they're dead set on wanting an IUL, we also make sure, is that a good fit for them, right?
Right. So them coming on an IUL call, like they're there for an IUL, even though they don't know what it is,
Yeah.
right? So they're not like,
good.
yeah, because like whatever, at the end of the day, we know where the leads are coming from because we generate our own leads. So that alone is what helps that, because whether it's an ad or organic just means free, ad means you paid to be there. And regardless of what it is, that ad or that organic piece of content was curated by us that says, hey, this is what we use to create these tax-free benefits and stuff. And therefore, even if the prospect had no idea what it was before, when they filled out the form, it was because they watched a video in regards to it. Therefore, they're there for the IUL as long as it makes sense for them. And then going into that, the forms that they fill out do ask, how much can you comfortably save per month? Are you in a position to comfortably contribute or save money per month? Are you in a good financial position? And it asks a few financial questions, but we're not trying to see if an IUL is good for them. But we know they're there for an IUL, so we don't have to try to fact find or differentiate what product to pick them in. Once they get on the call, if they responded like and told her that if we can only save $50 a month or $100 per month, be like, okay, well then it would go into like asking about family and kids. And like, what is your biggest goal? It's not retirement.
Right.
And like, while it may have been retirement and you do need to solve that problem, it sounds like you don't have enough funds to really prepare for that. But we do want to make sure you have a lifelong life insurance policy in place Therefore, just set up an IUL because it's a universal whole life policy that is very, very flexible in premium payments. And then we just lower the premium contributions and the death, have a death benefit. You could use like the new Ethos IUL or something. That would be a great accommodating factor for a whole life scenario, not a cash value life scenario. While most of our stuff is for cash value and like being your own bank and that kind of concept, we're not having to identify those facts really on most of the leads that come in. So the biggest determining factor is how you get your lead first. To answer your question, you need to know what type of lead you're approaching, who are you prospecting for
Right,
in
who's
the
your
very
audience?
initial stages. And then once they come in, making sure it fits them, right?
Mhm.
But 9 out of 10, it fits. And then the other 1 out of 10, that's when you divert and go the other direction. We don't want to just throw out into the blue sea and everybody could be a client while everybody could be a life insurance client, like we said before. We're really dialing in who is filling out the form so no one's wasting time, because our office and us are like focused on that, right? If they want to buy a term or whole life, they'll probably fill out somebody else's ad because their ad was tailored more for them.
Right.
Got
I
it.
hope that answers the question. We do ask financial questions and stuff on the forms.
Yeah. So let's go. Someone asked a question. Let's go into what you're saying about fact finding and getting people, qualifying questions to see if someone, does have money for an annuity. What are some questions or some things that you touch on to see if that person would be a good fit for an annuity?
Do you currently have a retirement account? Do you have money in the bank? Right. See, the thing is, most IUL clients, you ask financial questions. Most applications you're doing anyways, you're asking finance and income questions, whether it's term. When someone says they make 200K a year, well, at the end of the day, do they have money in savings? Are you answering a liquidity asset, like liquid assets? Do you know what kind of funds they have? Be like, hey, do you guys have any like money saved for retirement in cash? Like when we ask, do you have 401K? Also ask if they have cash sitting in a bank account, right? And then because then that would give you a non-qualified annuity, right? A cash funded annuity. I think you did last week. You did $100,000 non-qualified annuity. Someone had cash in their bank account, right?
The majority of the calls end with them going, "Oh shoot, like I think I do have a 401k. Can we get back to you on that? Can I go look? Is there a website?" And we're like, and we're in the office together, like, goodness. Yes. You probably do. Let us help you find it, and make sure it's in the right spot.
In asking, yeah, like if you have a 401k, is it tied to your current employer or not? If it's not,
If you're
okay,
overfunding it, like if they're matching it and you're paying, why are you paying more than what they're
That, yeah.
willing to match? It's super silly to me, but
that's
Yep.
right. And that's when you add that to an IUL. But as far as the annuity goes, if they're over 59 and a half, we could touch it. If it's an old employer, we could touch it. If they're retired, we could which is an old employer, we could touch it. Like at which point in time, worst case scenario, Athene is going to just say, no, you can't touch it. Like are we going to attempt for the application 100% as soon as it makes sense for the client? So really just identifying it. The only question we ask, do you have cash? Do you have a 401k or any other retirement account? Is it tied to a current employer?
Love
If
it.
they say no, it's not. Yes, I have 100 grand cash. Well, let's and then just everything we do is via Zoom, so we're not doing phone calls. So it's so much easier. It's like we're acting like we're in front of the client. So therefore, it's like, hey, look, this is what that 100 grand could do. Like this is what it could potentially, and then you just show it to them, and at that point in time, they're not just hearing it; they see it, and that's when they're like, oh, this makes sense. The problem with that we would find with like phone calls is just people just hear things and people don't really listen, right?
with people. That's really where I was talking about how we use because we were so different. Well, we are so different. So starting a business together, we were like, that doesn't work. This doesn't work. That doesn't make any right. Like we were going back and forth trying to figure out what made the most sense. And what we found right away is that like, who wants to, and I know that they do, so I'm not knocking it, but like me personally, if you're just a voice on the other end of the phone, like I can't connect with it's I have to talk to you multiple times for me to feel comfortable or feel like I know you enough to share, personal stuff with you. So we didn't start with Zoom. Like we were doing the phone calls and it was a lot harder to close the deals. And then we got in for we asked, hey, we would prefer to Zoom. Is that something that you're open to? Is kind of how we started it to see like what that was going to be like. And then realized quickly that it's so much easier to close when you're sitting, you know, when you're face to face, because we're a lot, you know, it's a lot more personable. So
Yeah, and then you could show the
if you can
illustrations.
do that, yeah, and then we have a vibe, you can't see it, but a huge vibe board where we're able to bring in and kind of like map it out, draw it out for the client, what makes sense for them specifically. So we're not, you know, when they find us on, if you haven't seen Austin's TikToks, they're hilarious. You have to get on there. Good information, really, really great content, but like hilarious, eye-catching is what I would say. But he's just really, really good about giving more broad like answers on specific, you know, like a business person, or you're working the 9 to 5 kind of thing. And then when he gets on the call with somebody, if it interests them or they want to see how that would relate to them, we're able to bring out the board and pinpoint exactly what it looks like for them, you know, in real life. And it just visually, I think, makes a huge difference. So if you're able to get on Zoom calls with people, I definitely recommend that. That also helped our business a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Something you guys said was really doing a complete financial inventory, asking about, you know, income, asking about 401k, IRAs, cash. Guys, even a regular final expense, mortgage protection appointment, term insurance appointment, whatever it is, if you do not know the person's financial situation in terms of income, expenses, rent or mortgage, and if they have any money, savings, checking, 401k, that's a really tough sale to try to close that any of that information. And also, as a salesperson, you're not very well armed, meaning someone says, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. Well, if you know what they make in their expenses and what they have, yesterday I had one where I'm like, Mary, you said this, so you have about 2,500 left over at the end of the month. Well, it's probably closer to 2,000. I'm like, okay, so this 150 a month, that's still less than 10% of your savings. We would be good. And she's like, okay, let's do it. So you guys have to make sure you guys hit those, and then that'll also help you get into those advanced sales. A question someone asked is obviously for the annuities, you really have to get those illustrations and show it to them before we do the application. For IULs, are you guys doing it all at once? Are you guys doing the initial call and then setting one up to do the illustration, or how does that work?
No, we knock it out pretty quick.
Got it. Okay.
No, we do. It honestly depends on the client. We'll have the initial phone call with the intent of just making sure the IUL is right for them, or annuity, or whatever it is that they're on the call for. But if it is, and we're hoping that it is, and it makes sense for them, then the idea is to go ahead and close it right away, right? Like going through the illustrations and everything.
Yeah, because anyway, like a quick flow of, since I set up our marketing systems, what happens is when a lead comes in, however it's generated, a lead comes in, a text message comes to our phone, at which point in time the text message includes their information. We simply text them, right? Whether it's us or whether it's our CRM texting them, they'll get a text right away. And then they get the text message, like they send their information. We send a text that says, hey, what's up? We saw you just inquired about getting an IUL. Would you be available today or tomorrow to set up a Zoom call? Yeah. Right? And we say to set up a Zoom call, and we say today or tomorrow. And we give them 2 options that say, would you be available? Gives them the feeling that they're in control, but they're really not, because we're assuming they'll be available today or tomorrow. So that way they say, yes, I'm available, or no, I can't, they will be inclined to respond with, I'll be available Friday when I'm off. So now what's happening is we assume they're available, even though we gave them the feeling that personally that they were in control. Then they're like, yeah, I'm available. And then we just say, what time works best for you? Since we already know it's today or tomorrow. And then they'll say 9 a.m. Check the schedule. Perfect. We'll send you a Zoom link. Sometimes it goes to your spam. Check your emails. The CRM sends them text messages with reminders and stuff with the link. And then they're showing up for an hour and a half blocked out call to get this IUL, learn about it. And then once it comes down to it, like when she hops on the call or whatever, it's literally, we already have the information. She'll just be like, I'm going to confirm your information. And then could you just tell me what brought you to the call? And then they're going to say every reason why they came to the call and every pain point they have. And then because she already asked you already currently have life insurance or any other retirement accounts. And then if they say no, she's like, okay, that's probably what you're here for. If you don't mind, we just explain why you came to the call, right? Or what book this. And she's like, well, I don't have these. And then they just talk about everything. Yeah. And then you just give it back to them.
Everything that, once they start, like you said, like opening up, they tell you exactly what they need without understanding that they're telling you exactly what they need, right? So we're taking notes. We have our sheets that we use, and we just constantly are taking notes and filling it out. And they're basically filling in the gaps so that we know at the end of the call whether we can go ahead and go through with that, right? The illustration.
Yeah, and after about 15 or 20 minutes of talking and just letting them talk and like relate with them and build that rapport, right? Then it's like, well, okay, so do a hypothetical without screen sharing. Hypotheticals are always like, well, hypothetically, you saved $1,000 per month into an IUL based off of your age and assuming you're healthy. Death benefits about $250,000. Minimums are about 1/10 of your contributions, about 100, maybe 120 a month. So you have that room of flexibility, right? So and that's worst case scenario, you pay 120, but everything above that goes towards your accumulation account, right? That's what's indexed, right? And then you never lose money. And so typically what would happen, you'd have about $880 going towards your accumulation account, and then it grows from there. But let's look at one specific to you. So and then you like, is that everything you understood or how you thought an IUL worked?
Good.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, that's kind of what I thought, because they don't really know, but they've watched training prior to here. And then like, well, let's talk about one that's actually specific to you and look at some numbers that make sense. How much can you comfortably save per month? And then they tell you 500,000, 5,000, 10,000, and then straight into an illustration. Then you show it to them, and then does this make sense? Yes or no? They're never going to say no because we're already there, because it made sense prior to them getting there. Yes, perfect. Move forward with an application.
Love it. So some people are asking now, you guys protect 100, 200, 230 families a month. And I know the answer to this, but for them to know, for you guys didn't start out protecting 100, 200 families a month, did you?
No, I don't think so. I wish.
How
No, I got hung up on a lot. I was sad in the beginning.
how long did it take you guys
Yeah.
to start producing 40, 50 families, 60 families a month since you started?
How what? I didn't hear.
How long?
Did it take us a second?
Yeah.
It wasn't long.
Not long.
It
3 months, maybe 3 months.
Cool.
I think you hit 100K, and first 100K was like in March or April.
We had this plan in mind. I don't know if anybody knows this, but we had this plan in mind because I'm not a salesperson and because I hate being in front of people. One-on-one, I'm good. I'm super comfortable, but like anything past that, I'm really, really uncomfortable. And I certainly don't like feeling like I'm pushing anything onto you. So I'm the perfect, in our mind, new agent coming in with zero experience in sales and marketing. I don't want my face out there. I don't want any of that, right? So we thought, how awesome would it be if we were able to basically build a system where we could train all of our agents to be awesome, right? To be really, really good agents and to be able to be their own business and blah, 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 right? And be top agents, top producers. And they came from nothing with no experience by using me as like the guinea pig. So basically Austin, with all of his experience in marketing and sales and refusing to take no for an answer, and me laying down any time anybody said no, like, okay, so sorry that I bothered you, that we would use, me as the guinea pig and to try it out. So he basically has spent the last year coaching me, like across the table on every phone call, taking notes, telling me exactly what to say every single time in order to get to where we are today. And the point being to where we could step back, and like our goal next year will be to use what he did for me by getting me comfortable with overcoming objections and selling and stuff like that, and teaching it, being able to replicate it and do it for our agents so that they could also get to that point as well. So that's really been like our main focus this year, was to see what we would be able to do starting from scratch and creating, this system.
That's where the first 2 or 3 months when we issue pay.
I call that baseline. With my behavioral background, we call that baseline, where he did not like step in the beginning. He was like, let's see what you got, girl. And I cold dialed everybody, and it was awful. And then when I would get on the call with somebody and they'd be like, that sounds great, tell me more. I'm like, I would love to. Can we schedule a call after so that I could find out what to say? And we really sat down after each call and he built it up to like, okay, so next time, don't hang up the phone. Take
Yep.
like lead it this way.
And then obviously the only way to get better in any business is to, a lot of people miss this, like you have to have a plan, you have to do the plan, and you have to review the plans. 3 steps to any business, I don't care. Plan, do, and review. If you do something you don't plan on doing, you don't know what you did, and you can't replicate and you can't scale it. If you plan to do something and you don't do it, you failed yourself and you can't review it. Right. So we made in the first 3 months, like, and that's why it takes 90 days to create a plan, do the plan, and review a plan. You can't review something that you did for 7 days. You can't review something you did for 14 days. 1 month in, you can't review it because you still don't have data from your chargebacks that are going to come 3 months later. Right. It can't be done. And that's what people don't understand. And then they're like, well, they make this plan to buy leads and then they don't buy leads. Right. I'm like, well, you can't run a business without leads, right? Like nobody can.
Or giving up away. If it weren't for him telling me I basically don't have a choice, put nicely, like it takes time. Be okay with the no's right now and the zeros or the negatives, because we were negative in the beginning. We were struggling, or I was, and I would have just given up and moved on to something else because I don't even love sales anyway. I do believe in what we do, and I do believe in helping people, and that's kind of really what stuck me. You know, like he would have to remind me, like, you're not, you're selling, I guess, but you're not selling. Like, we're doing this because exactly what you love to serve people, and that is what you're doing. You're helping families. So just reminding yourself in those tough times, you know, when you're struggling in the beginning, of like what your why is and why you're doing this, and then working through it when it's hard.
I think a lot of people, the IULs obviously, and then you all know IULs are fully underwritten, which scares a lot of people, right? And it takes a long time to get paid. So that's another thing, like to build up to where we're like constantly, she's hitting 100K per month. And it's pretty much now like on autopilot because there's 30, 40, like Nina said earlier, the pipeline's just fat because APSs and all these other things that are just taken. Like it takes a long time in underwriting, right? Like she got $1 million funded in annuities this week. But they've been sitting for like who knows how long, right? Because it's a lot of paperwork and it's a lot more back end office stuff, and it's not that quick sell that everyone's so used to or wants. That's the problem.
Well, consistent with it, honestly.
Pays dividends.
Well, and it's constant. Like it felt in the beginning, obviously, because you have to get that snowball effect that nothing was happening. And we were, you know, even when we were selling or doing something, it still felt like we were playing catch up. And now it's, I don't know how to say it. Like
it's, you said, right, snowball effect. It's like,
well, no, I just didn't know how to say this like humbly, but like now, like we don't even, like, it's just kind of, it's coming in bulk.
Autopilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like,
I want to ask you something. So the month of August, they changed the bonus program for producers. And we thought it wasn't going to hit until September, and ended up it actually hit in August. So you guys got a $20,000 non-chargebackable freaking bonus from FFL.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
It was pretty sweet. We were a little bit, you know, we got the email and we were like, there was something going on that day, and I don't remember what it was, but we were like a little bit stressed out, overwhelmed. We've had a year full of some challenges thrown our way. I don't know if anybody knows our story.
I know you guys know a little bit about it,
but like we had like 2 years. We're going to be in our 2-year anniversary of meeting each other, dating, and being married on our cruise next month. But we just have had a heck of a year. And so I think that we had like something strange going on that day. So we got the email and we were like looking at each other like, I don't think it hit right away. Like we saw, it was almost like, is this real? I don't know. And then later on that night, we looked at each other like, what?
and then when it finally, it just feels, it's just like you said, the non-charge back, just the fact that it feels different. Like even though we get IP and the IP numbers are hitting the bank and you see the accounts, obviously they're nice. But to just see that, because like the other highest bonus ever was 4K, right? On 100K you pay. And then to see a 20K bonus, like that's like our bonus is gonna pay 6 figures alone. So that's
do something that you love and make money doing it, and then to be rewarded on top of that and make more for it. That's just was really, really,
that bonus is
we weren't you're right.
Yeah, I text Hayden when I saw that flyer, I think August like 9th. I was like, hey, is this real? He's like, I don't know if it's in the office. And then it ended up hitting at the end of September or whatever, or this month or whatever it hit.
Yeah. 2 weeks later, I found out why you're asking me that question because I saw the issue pay, and I'm like, okay, now I know why. Well, hey, this has been fantastic. There's been a lot of value in this thing. We're gonna, like I said, put the recording up on YouTube for people to watch. Let's end it with two things. One, what are some goals to finish out this year and then next year's goals? And then if someone wants to work with you guys, they want to become a master at IULs and annuities and join the team, how do they contact you guys?
Yeah, you got this?
You got it.
All right, so
Do it.
goal for the end of this year is 1.5 or 1,500 families, right? That's our goal.
Yeah.
That's still hopefully we'll see if that happens. That's the goal. So we're doing everything we can based off of what's in the pipeline and stuff. I don't see why we wouldn't, especially if we just work. It's numbers. Data is data, right? You have enough leads, you do the math, and we can make it happen. So that's the goal. Next year, the goal is to probably step back a little, probably still hit the same numbers personal wise, but the goal is going to be really agency.
All of the agents to run across that stage in the red jackets.
Yeah.
Like that has been my goal from day one. It wasn't even so much like we want, although that's awesome, we want to hit Hall of Fame, but like how, like I said, like we were using me as the guinea pig. It was how cool would it be if we developed a system where like we can get everyone on that stage.
Yeah.
That would be my dream, is to get our entire agency, every downline on that stage next year.
Yeah,
Would be
it's
cool.
the stuff we've put together is pretty foolproof to the point where like we can step back and like I know without a shadow of a doubt, an agent could come in and the leads could just come to his phone. He could text them, he could set up the appointment, or he or she day, and they could take care of the business essentially, and we could pull back and just focus more on a CEO standpoint and just making better decisions and improving the software systems that we have for the client or agents and stuff, and also back end for clients. So next year the plan is really to bring those numbers to our agents instead of personal, and then hopefully take it to an integrity table.
Integrity, that's the goal.
Okay, let's go. And then how does someone get in contact with you guys?
Social media, our social media handles, Austin Becker Official. Is it Jess or Jessica?
I don't know, I changed mine. So did his is more entertaining.
She's tagged and everything. It was tagged.
Babies and dogs.
This reach out on Instagram. Everybody can message us. Again, our software systems are open. I don't know if they're open for people. But as far as agents want to work, anybody just DM us. We're more than happy to answer questions, assist in the best we can.
Yeah.
And if you have questions pertaining to what we're doing, strategies and stuff, directly just DM us. I guess that's
I don't know if numbers are posted.
Yeah,
anywhere,
I don't
but you can
know.
always text.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys if we want to post the numbers in chats or anything, but you could
Yeah,
text us. It's up
for
to
sure.
Perfect.
ask Katie and Nina. They're more. You guys can pass out our phone number. We don't care.
Okay.
Sweet.
It might take a minute back because we're constantly, we've got dance, football, basketball, baseball, clients, agents, which
Yeah.
is why texting is the best, but we'll get back.
You guys
Yeah,
are
yours
killer.
is just
Well,
JES Becker Official on Instagram, and then my full name Austin Becker Official. Yeah.
thank you.
Shay-
Sheila, for putting that. Awesome. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for the value today. Super, super excited to be in business with you guys and see what you're going to do the rest of the year. And we will see you guys in Dallas come February. Hopefully with that #1 producer, those red jackets. So thanks guys. And we'll talk to you guys soon.